this agenda setting meeting to order Thursday, January 20th. If we could all stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Media has been properly notified. The next item on our agenda is approval of the January 10th committee meeting minutes.
I need you to approve the agenda first, though.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're there to be my safety net all the time. Approval of agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
I second.
Discussion. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to go to the minutes.
Now we can get to the minutes of January 10th.
I move we approve the agenda committee meeting minutes of January 10th.
I second.
Discussion. All those in favor, aye.
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 Now we get to the heart of the meeting, which is setting the January 28th work session meeting. There is a draft out on board docs. I should say that you notice at the end it says if we don't finish the agenda, we'll go over into the second day. And so that way we don't have to change the calendar to have a second day. We'll just do it just like we do board work sessions.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think that was Robin's idea.
I put everything on this agenda that you all talked about that would be a work session.
Yes, ma'am. One thing.
In no particular order. And then I also left off an item that Kristen is asking for you all to discuss is about student performances, if they should be in person, remote, as well as student of the month, if they should come in person or be remote. So that those things need to be added as well.
Now, the other thing that's not on here is the Riverview annual report, and I think that has to be done.
Yes.
That's correct.
So where do you want to start putting things?
Yeah, I would think we could put that Riverview first as our first item, and then let them know that they're on for 9 o'clock.
So what's the deadline for that report? It could not wait until the next board meeting?
No, it has to be done by the end of this month.
Oh, okay.
It has to be, I have to send it to SCDE by January 31st.
Okay.
We did speak with them about the presentation and sort of how to structure it so that it's not a lengthy presentation like the last one, but that it just gets to the point that they need to communicate.
Okay.
Good. Okay. Then we have Karen Gilbert's presentation. I think that's good. Then the priority schools update, and that usually takes a little while. Process for vetting volunteers. Where did this one come from, Robin? This is
For me.
That's Miss Ingrid, who is
So
raising her hand.
Ingrid.
Yeah, Dr. Rodriguez had something to say, but I was the one that suggested this and I wanted to clarify it. So whenever, I think Dr. Rodriguez had something to say first.
no, I think it's worthy to clarify it first, because my suggestion was not suggestion. My question was going to be, is this something that we could clarify with an email to the board, or so maybe it's helpful to hear what you're thinking about.
Okay, so when this came up, I put it on as because it's one of the questions I get a lot in the community as we come out of COVID. And then you said, David, we got to be more specific. I was put on the spot. What I meant was how we're going to bring volunteers back into the school, how we're going to make sure, because we do have a process, but I can tell you that process is not being followed with fidelity. There's a lot of volunteers in the school that aren't going through a background check. And so when I was on operations committee, there was an AR that came in on this. And the thing is, we don't categorize if they're direct student contact versus non-direct student contact. So right now, we're basically anyone that quote unquote volunteers in the school is supposed to get a background check. So that was one question, is making sure that we had a tight enough standard for kids. Because I can tell you, I don't think up until last year, I don't think I ever went through a volunteer background check. And I had a lot of direct contact with students. So I just wanted to talk about, like, how do we encourage, and, you know, there are a lot of volunteers anxious to come back and do that smartly. So I don't know how to put that in like 3 words, but that was kind of my thought. I get stopped constantly at the grocery store. They're like, how do you like the school board? When are you going to let volunteers back in? So,
Okay, well, that's different than vetting them. Encouraging volunteers is a different issue than this.
right. Well, it's all part of the same, like,
Yes,
plan.
ma'am.
Like, what's the plan?
I know. I just want to make sure we're targeted properly. So somehow we got to work into their encouraging volunteers. And Frank, you can speak to the process of vetting volunteers. If we're not following the process, then that's not a big discussion.
Right. So you want it to be about how will we encourage volunteers and looking at a date for that to open up. I guess that's what I'm hearing, right?
Yeah. So, like, post-COVID pandemic, how are we smartly re-engaging bringing volunteers back into the school?
Okay.
So do you
Like
want
that.
me
Let's change it to re-engaging volunteers.
Yeah.
process for re-engage?
I don't know if we need the word process, right? I think we could
Okay.
just say re-engaging volunteers post-COVID. I think that's what you're looking for.
If we don't want to renege them. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So does that hits your target, right, Ingrid?
Yes. Does that hit your target for specificity and sensitivity?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Excellent. And while I've got you on the line, I also brought up social media policy. Neither of these are things that have to, I know January 28th got a lot of stuff, I think, and we're still obviously going to be dealing with high COVID numbers and quarantines at that point. So we can push some of this stuff off, but I will say that from both these issues, I think, are not sort of esoteric. You know what I mean?
But they're not Byzantine either.
Yes, come for the meeting, stay for the SAT vocabulary.
Yeah. I mean, you classed up our meeting so much by working that word in, I thought. Well, I think we can handle this. We can always go over the second day. I'd like to clear as much as we can in the work session so that, that to-do list is as small as we can get it. So there's something specific about social media, I believe you were targeting.
Yeah, well, we need a social media policy, which I do believe is being worked on. So, that's just something I think We talked to the district about that with hiring, and, staff, appropriate social media use. There's a few other areas where I think, we just need a policy on social media. So correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Rodriguez, but is that something you guys are kind of already working on and are going to bring forward at some point?
Well, if it's a policy that belongs to the board in terms of board policy, and that would be in the board's policy committee. But if it's in terms of what the district is trying to work through about social media, we are, but if there's going to be a policy, I think we need, we can't go against policy. So the policy, I think, should come first. So maybe what, I'm sorry, Mr.
So I don't think there's going to be a policy on that.
Okay.
Because that's into the weeds, I think, a little more than we need to get.
It
So
could be
I think
an AR.
They are, yes.
Okay.
And you're working on that, right?
They're working on it, but I don't know if they're at a place to really bring that forward right now.
Well, let's take it off.
Yeah, so. So, Dr. Rodriguez, when do you think they will be at the point where they can discuss what they're working on?
Well, I'll have to go back and then I can let you know. But I don't think they're at that point yet because I haven't gotten a substantial briefing on it yet. So,
Right.
So I will go back and follow up and check on where we are, and then I can let you know. But if it's for a work session, for example, right? I mean, the next work session is a while away. So if it's not on this one, it should be there.
Okay. All right. So,
The
Chair,
next
can
one
we?
is in March.
So, Chair, can we move the right choices processes behind the CTE programs since they're both programs? Can we hear about that after? CTE?
Was that a question for me?
No, that was a question for
Okay.
David. So, Chair.
Sure, we can move it up there. But again, I'm going to ask specifically, what is it about the right choices that we're looking for?
I would like to hear an overview of what's going on at Right Choices. Do they have, everything that they need? What are some of the concerns that they have? Because remember, I put this on because I met with one of the teachers who, from what I understand, he's not there anymore. He was talking about, the number of teachers, the ratio between teachers and students. Like at that time, they had 30-something students. There were 3 teachers. They were teaching all grade levels. Not all of them were certified in all of the areas that they were teaching their children. It was kind of hard getting some of the assignments from the home schools that these kids came from. There's also a question about whether special ed students are getting the services that they need while they're over there. So I just want to know, and I think we all should know what their processes are, how they set up the academics for students, how they make sure that they're getting the special ed services that they need.
Sounds like that is going to be a big one.
It might be, and it may not.
Yes.
We don't know.
Okay, so
Is that the correct title then?
right choices, structure, processes, and special ed. Those were the things I heard. Is that
Mm-hmm.
okay?
There's a whole lot going on because I really don't know what goes on at Right Choices based only when someone comes to me and tells me, what's going on over there.
Yes, ma'am. You're not alone.
See?
All right, so let's put right choices, structure, processes, and special ed.
It's SPED services.
Ed services, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Frank, does that give you enough to work with?
Yep, sure does.
David, one of the things that I don't see on this list that was on our last thing was the dashboard, and you were going to check with Dr. Wisniewski about what she meant about the dashboard.
Uh-oh.
Okay, I just looked back. That was in the minutes that we just approved.
Yeah, I didn't check with her.
Okay.
Ingrid's hands up.
Yes, ma'am.
Another thing that I don't see on here, and I'm looking on the Zoom screen, but is the facilities plan. Because they brought that through. I don't know if that's ready to come January 28th or if that's something that's going to wait off till March, but I didn't see it on the list.
She said it wouldn't be ready till February, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Mr. Stribinger, do you want me to follow up with Dr. Wisniewski? I know last semester there was something that we needed follow up on, and I tried to chase it down to get that clarity. Do you want me to do that, or?
That'd be great. That'd
Okay.
be great. Get it off my plate.
I'll follow up on that. And that was dashboards, right?
Yes.
Yep, I'll follow up.
That'd be good, because I obviously don't have a good track record on that one.
No, I didn't mean it like that, but
No,
I did follow up, and since I'm going to have to sort out the presentation on it, it'll help me be clear about whatever it is she's looking for.
Do you want me to go ahead and put it on the list or wait until you follow up?
I would wait and see what it is.
Yeah, that takes us to this next one in implementing 1 day a week planning, shortening school day for teacher burnout. Go ahead, Frank.
Thank you. So on that particular issue, I think this is something we have to try to work in during the course of a day, but I don't think it's something where we can say we're gonna work Monday through Thursday, or Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and Wednesday will be this planning day, because there is some statute that was passed that said you got to have 5 days a week of instruction as a result of this whole COVID thing, right? And then when you get into high schools, that begins to affect seat time, right? But what you can do is try to find a way to structure some time within your existing day, right? That where perhaps you can have some coverage for kids that then creates that additional time once a week or something like that for different grade levels, and provide some relief or some planning that way. But if you get into shortening the school day, you could run into some issues around that. If you get into cutting out a day, then you either extend your calendar further, or you end up. So that's a whole lot to say that I'm not sure. Cutting out a day is something that's viable.
I think you
That
just
was mine. And I never intended that we would cut out a day. I was looking at shortening a day, but I really think the issue is responding to teacher burnout.
Mm-hmm.
What creative things, can we do to address teacher burnout? That sentence there has some possible, non-possible solutions in it, but the real issue is, what can we do to address teacher burnout?
And I know, Kathy, when you spoke about it at that meeting, I know exactly what you were talking about, and I think what you're talking about is something that we can work through within the structure of a day or the structure of a schedule. But there was another board member who mentioned getting rid of a day as part of it, and so I just wanted to clarify that getting rid of a day, I don't think is something that we could do.
Yeah. So
how about, Ingrid, I'll get to you. How about changing this then for strategies to deal with teacher burnout? Is that more on
that
our?
works for me, and this is a work session, so I feel like it's just let's talk about some strategies and what might be the cost of some strategies, or, you know,
We'll say
That type of
strategies
thing.
for dealing with teacher burnout
yeah,
or to prevent teacher burnout.
yeah.
Okay, Ingrid?
Can you hear me? Because now I'm in my car.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? Okay, good. I just wanted to remind you too that the legislature is coming down with that thing where school boards are going to have to come up with a specific like we're going to be given a time frame for unencumbered time, protecting teachers' unencumbered time or protecting their planning. So that might, I don't know, it's just something that if we're going to discuss teacher burnout and we're going to talk about planning periods and structuring the day, it might not be a horrible idea to wait till we get the thing from the legislature, but I just want to remind you that was coming.
Well, you can mention that at the work session then, because I know what you're talking about. And
Yeah.
You're right. Okay, so I think this one is going to take some time also, perhaps. Because I can't imagine any board member that doesn't want to make a statement.
So the one,
Go ahead, Frank.
the one question on this, right? Because this is one where I can see us delving into the weeds, into kind of operational things and all of that, right? So how do we handle this conversation without delving into the weeds?
Well, restructuring the board is out of the question. I would say you're gonna have to try to keep it at a high level, and I will try to keep it from getting into the weeds.
Okay.
Okay, the next one, I do know committee meetings, as you all probably saw, we do have a technology committee now. But we still, yes, ma'am. We still have to decide if we want to change the legislative from just a liaison to a committee, and it's been a committee in the past, so that's an issue we have to deal with.
We want to pull out HR from operations and have a separate HR committee meeting that just meets like policy as needed.
Yep. So hopefully those will be kind of quick closure items. We'll see.
So do you have a note of those so we don't lose those? The HR?
Do you want me to put them on here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Good idea. That would make it more specific.
Would you say legislative
Uh-huh.
and HR? Okay.
And then the third thing is we want to work in reviewing the time spent last year, and I'm not quite sure how to say it.
On meetings in general, because it's both committee and meetings.
Yeah, you're right. It's both. Well, let's make that a separate topic then, because you're right. It's both board meetings and committee meetings. Meeting minutes format. That is just, I'm going to offer a suggestion to try to deal with the issue of timeliness of the minutes, where we review the minutes before the meeting breaks up and everybody agrees to it right then and there while everything is fresh in their mind. And then they're already approved when the meeting breaks up, and they can be posted immediately. And I understand there's not a consensus on that having value, but we need to talk about it.
Say board and committee meeting, or just board meeting length?
Board and committee meetings. It's both, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we just want to review how many hours we've spent last year and the previous year. It's kind of shocking when you look at it. And that's a great segue into the meeting minutes format. That works really well. And then the results section of the policy manual, we need to discuss the importance of that. It needs to get updated. We need to have our results updated in time for Frank to budget appropriately when he knows what the results are for next year. And so that's got to be done fairly quickly. And I was somewhat disappointed at how few people were interested in the results committee, since that's our #1 priority. But
Well, hey, those of us who were interested are top notch.
Yes, ma'am. I wasn't talking about quality. I was
Okay.
just on quantity, and I probably shouldn't even said that, but that's our #1 priority. So we got to focus on it.
Yes.
And the revised annual work plan, we have to approve that. Now the consent agenda, I don't think this belongs in a work session, but
Do you want me to put that, just move this to, at our regular meeting? Okay.
I think so. But what do you think, Angela, Kathy? Normally we don't do that.
Yeah, we have, but we do vote on things sometimes in work sessions.
I think we should wait till the next board meeting.
Yeah, the next board meeting is February 1st, right? It's just like 3 days later, 4 days later.
Yes.
So we can put them there.
It just seems like and as you know, I'm trying to push as much as I can onto the work sessions. With that, the consent agenda just seems like something that belongs in the board meeting.
Okay.
And it's such a small item. It doesn't really take much time. So good. Okay. And then if in the event we haven't addressed all these items, we'll reconvene at 9 o'clock on the 29th.
So do you want 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock? What time do you want me to put there?
5 o'clock. There's a lot on that work session agenda.
So you want to be by 5 o'clock?
That's a long day, but
What time are we starting? At 9?
9,
9?
well, in a 45-minute lunch period, so.
Well, I know for sure that if we go until the next day, I won't be able to be there. I won't be in town.
Well, 9 to 5 is a classic work day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
But most people adhere to that. So yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Dolly Parton.
Call me,
All right.
call me Dolly Parton Jr.
Are you going to sing a line or two of that, Kathy?
You don't want to hear me sing. Let me tell you.
So let's make it 5. That's a good
Okay.
suggestion. And hopefully we can get through. And if not, we'll roll into the second day.
Yeah.
Because one of the points of having the work sessions is that we're free to talk a lot more about things. We're not as constrained.
Right.
And our work session last year was 2 days. Why did we not plan Thursday and Friday this time around? Was it too much?
Yeah, they've always been Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And last
Yeah, I
year-
remember it being 2 days. I don't remember what day of the week, but.
And last year, most of the time, they ended up only being a 1-day work session. The ones that were planned last year. They were scheduled for 2 days, but you ended up having it only for 1 day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what led me to say, wait a second, the work sessions are only 1 day and they were 2, and the board meetings are running,
2 days.
We need more balance there.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I think, is everybody happy with this? Anybody?
Yes.
Any objection to where we have it? And
Oh,
go ahead, Frank.
So just for clarity, I want to just run through this list for a second. The presentations that you are expecting from district staff are the CTE programs, the right choices, the TSA priority schools. How are we, this is re-engaging volunteers. How can we
Strategy.
structure strategies to deal with teacher burnout? The committee meetings is really a board discussion with whatever input you might want or accept from me. The meeting minute format is really a board discussion. The results section of the policy is not, you're not looking for a presentation from staff. That's your discussion and input from us. But then and the revised annual work plan is just the work plan with the eliminated subsections on it, gone from that. And then, of course, Riverview's doing a presentation. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Yes, sir. And
Sounds right, yep.
what we try to do is push all the staff issues up to the front in case we have to go over to the second day, so they wouldn't have to come in on the Saturday.
Okay. So, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that I had people preparing and turning them in as soon as possible for you all to review before the meeting.
Okay, and Kathy's right. Somehow we're gonna have a 45-minute lunch in here.
I just read it on the thing. Actually, we could have a 30-minute lunch. That's fine with me.
Do you want me to change it to 30?
Yeah, I don't think our teachers
agree.
get a 45-minute lunch, do they?
Oh, you can put down 30 because it'll take 45 anyhow.
Yeah.
What I'd really like to avoid is us having lunch while somebody's giving a presentation. That's just really disrespectful. So
Yeah.
we want to avoid doing that. But yeah, put 30. Is it? Are we going to have like box lunches, Robin, or something like that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, 30 minutes to eat a box lunch should be enough, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah, as long as you don't eat the box. As long as it's a small box. No.
Mhm.
All right. Okay, anything else on this one?
No.
Okay, I think then we have this one set. Now, do we want to try to do the February 1st, or do we want to meet next week and do that one?
Do you want to meet on the 24th?
I don't know. Everybody has to look at their phone.
Yep. Look at the calendar.
Let's see. I'm good on the 24th at 5 o'clock or whatever.
Yes. Same here.
Okay, yeah, 5 o'clock, I can do that.
You know,
All
yeah. I was just thinking that maybe some things that come out of the work session that we want to put on that February 1st agenda, but
Good thinking.
You'll have time to add it. If, well,
oh, yeah, the work
No.
session is after that. Sorry.
Yes.
That's not correct
Yeah.
thinking.
Oh, we'll assume that we'll know more then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that it?
Okay.
Is Tricia still on? I don't see her.
Yeah, I don't see Trish.
Okay.
Or Ingrid. Okay. All right, then I think it's just a matter of adjourning.
Right.
So moved. Good night.
Thank you all.
Good night.
Right,
Right.
thanks.
Thank you.